Testing.
Is
thing
this
on?
on? How's everyone doing?
Well, everyone here is, well, I'm fine.
You are fine. You're doing just great.
I'm fine. Byron is having a rough day,
Poor
but
Byron.
Byron.
He's fallen victim to the thing that's sweeping the nation right now, the dreaded stomach bug.
Yeah, yeah. So
We had it here in this area not too long ago. There we
I hear
go.
myself talking.
Not anymore, you don't.
Okay. It's like, what am I saying? What am I saying?
So for those that don't do live streaming, uh, I'm not going to dump on the platforms because I appreciate them, but many of them don't communicate with the platforms that you stream with.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes. So you have to open LinkedIn, you have to open Facebook, you have to keep
Yeah,
Restream open. I got to monitor all of them while we're going. It's a
right.
good
Thank
time.
goodness you can do that because I just sit here and drink my tea and run my mouth. So I want to just give a little nod to my second grade teacher who made me write on the blackboard I would not make money by talking and I should be quiet. I just want to be like, I see you, sister. You were wrong. Hi, Tony. Hello,
Oh, that's
Jen.
great.
Hello,
Tony.
Jen.
Hello,
Just say
Jen.
hello. Tony Jacobson.
How
Where
are
have
you,
you been
Tony?
all our lives? You're just such a great person. I'm so glad we've connected.
He really is so nice.
So positive and
Tony, I need to call you about something. I'm saying it publicly so I won't forget.
write it down. Write it down, Lucas.
Write it
Put it in your
down.
put it in your bullet journal, Lucas.
That's
Lucas.
right. What is wrong with you? So what's going on? Whoa, whoa, whoa. That coffee cup is not the same one you were using last week. What is that? What do we have here? I like it. It is significantly larger in size.
This is, the size of my coffee cup is the size of my need.
That's right.
Like
That is right.
no, so here's the thing is Byron's not feeling good. And so I normally wake up to coffee. I have a coffee, we have a coffee maker, it's set to go off. And so I normally wake up to this, the scent of the magic beans
Mm.
ready. I've had no coffee today. And also I'm at the very end of a very tough workout series. So there's 4 workouts a week, 8 weeks long. I did the third of the 4 workouts today. I did not die.
You're still here.
It was close because it was quad sets. Who comes up with this?
Torture. It's torture.
Quad sets times 3 times 3. So three quad sets, all upper body. And the trainer, Joel Freeman,
Joel.
Casey watches, Joel. I both love and don't love him. But he was like, if you can't lift your arms later, that's what dry shampoo is for. Meanwhile, he's a dude with not very much hair. It's like, it's not funny. It's not funny, Joel. The fact that probably tomorrow I can't wash my hair either. It's not funny.
When I was a trainer, I had a client very early in my training time. I was working with this hospital and we did a lot of rehab kind of clients that were in PT and then they would come work with us. And I had this gentleman who was very, very much in need of strength training. I'm just going to put it that way. Had all kinds of other reasons for needing it as well, health reasons why. So we went through one workout together. And the next day, his sweet little wife, who was with him his whole workout with us, she was great. I loved her. She was like an extension of me. I was like, make sure he does everything. She's like, okay. And she'd beat him up all week. They called and said, we need to speak with you. We have a problem. And I said, well, what's going on? And she said, he's very upset. He can't tie his tie. He was so sore. He couldn't take his arms up to tie his tie.
I've been there. I have been there. I've determined I'm never going to stop ever again.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep going because I want to win the one-legged sack race at the family reunion when I'm 96.
Yes.
So like that's my health vision.
I love it.
So yeah. So like because I'm old enough to have stopped and started over like, cause I'm a slow learner sometimes. And so, but it's so hard to get started again.
Yes.
And so my antidote to the pain and suffering that is getting started again is to never stop. Like, I might take a break for a few days, but I never just go, yeah, I did that once. On my birthday one year, I was like, you know what? I'm just kind of done working out. I've worked out my whole life. I'm kind of over it. It's whatever. And then, 20 pounds and 3 months later, when
3
nothing
months?
fit. What?
3 months?
Oh yeah, I can eat like a triathlete. I mean, like when you work out,
You're not short either.
I'm also not short, but and it probably wasn't 20 pounds, but it felt like it because I got to the upper limit of my pant range, right? Every woman has this, right? We have our skinny pants and then we have our fat pants. And like, when you get into the skinny pants, you're like, I got swagger. This is awesome. And then when you get up to where the fat pants, where your own personal fat pants, I'm not saying you're fat, calm down. When my fat pants don't fit, when they're stretched at the limit, when they're like, can you just put on a bathrobe? Just take off the pants. Like, we're done. We're out.
Your pants are like, put on the sweats, man. What are we doing?
Put on the sweats. Like, this is, we're done. We're done. You push the limit, right? We all have that go, no go, right? It's like, when you get to the top end of the no go, it's like 911, 911. And so I don't take those breaks anymore, Lucas. Just don't do it.
Well,
don't do it.
The habit is the strength. So I'm a big fan of the habit forming stuff when it comes to that. So good for you.
Yeah.
And Joel is done beating up on you for today. So there's some good there. Now you can have coffee.
Well, I'm not sure what's going to happen when the burnout hits me.
When is that?
Because that third set, the third set was the burnout. So it was a burnout of bicep curls.
Sorry, guys.
Something. And what are we sorrying about?
I accidentally hit the microphone.
Oh.
It's live recording catastrophe. Sorry.
Yes. But it was 3 things that ended with tricep push-ups.
Good.
So 3 sets of tricep push-ups with 2 other exercises was the third of that. 3 other exercises.
Nice.
So I'm sure it's going to be amazing in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it gets easier, right? It doesn't get any easier. Just the pain is less and less if
I am getting better. I am doing tricep push-ups with less swearing. I was going to say, what do I have less of?
That's a good measure.
I'm getting stronger, but I'm also able to do more consistently, which is just kind of cool. Like, as someone, as women tend to have less upper body strength, at least this woman, and tricep push-ups are the hardest that I found. Hate him now, love him later. Right. Exactly.
That's right.
So anyway, I want to talk about you.
Well, I want to talk about you.
I want to talk about you. Well, I changed the subject first, so I win. You released your book.
Yes.
As we record this, not this past Monday, but the Monday before. And so you've been a new author.
Yes.
For 10 days, give or take. Yes, is that Jen?
I think so.
Yes.
If it's not, I hope it is. I want it to be Jen, so it's Jen.
Yes. So how was your first 10 days as an author been? Like, give us, a lot of people are working on their first book, and we keep talking about how awesome being an author is. But tell us about your first 10 days.
It's everything I dreamt it would be, right? It is Jen that said that. That's great.
It's Jen.
Hi, Jen. So I'm fortunate, guys. I'm just going to say this public. I am fortunate to have good mentors in my life that have been through this a bunch of times and told me, hey, look, this is what the next week looks like. So this is what you need to be doing now.
Yeah.
With that being said, you have to experience it to appreciate it fully. I was not prepared for some things, and I was definitely prepared for others.
Uh-oh, what did I not prepare you for?
Oh no, it's not that you didn't say it. It's just like mentally, how do you process some of those things, right? So my personality came through in a way I didn't anticipate. So anyone who thinks that I have any measure of introversion is laughing right now. They're like falling out of their chair, like, you? Yeah, okay,
Same.
dude. Right?
Same. I'm an introvert, and most people would go, "That's not." No.
Yeah.
You tested wrong.
It decided to do exactly what it does when I'm in that imbalance. So you and I've talked about this before, where like if I'm in like a loud, crazy environment, I seek balance. If I'm in a very quiet environment, I seek balance. My personality kind of shifts to create that balance. And there was such a strong, positive response to the book, and so many nice things said that I immediately went, all right, how do I do this? You know, I was like, I need to make sure I thank every person. I need to make sure I send everyone an email. I need to make sure I jump on there. And it was hard for me to go to Amazon and not be able to put a reply to people's nice reviews, because it's like they leave this really nice review and there's no ability to reply.
They took away the reply feature. I was so bummed about that too.
Yeah, that was like, that was tough. So I don't have a problem receiving nice, kind words from people. I like to return it, right? Like quickly in public. Part of that's my military training, but part of it is just that's you know, the way I'm built. So that was interesting for me to see Amazon start to take in the reviews, and I'm not able to just like hit review and say, or reply and say thank you so much, right? So working with the advanced reader team to share the reviews and thank them for their work and not overwhelm them with emails, that was fun. So I really enjoyed talking to everyone in the art, and I enjoyed watching the responses come in about the book, and it's just very satisfying. But it also was like this thing where I had to like not obsessively check the reviews, check the metrics, check the stuff, right? So when you're selling something in Amazon, for those that haven't done this, because this was my first time selling anything on Amazon, it's like you can see all the orders. And I was like, uh-oh. I'm an engineer. Delayed. Yeah, they are delayed. And I'm an engineer, and I'm like, uh-oh, I like analytics. I'm not going to obsess over these numbers. I'm just not going to do it. So, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, liar. So I'm in there like 3 times a day instead of 1,800 times a day checking. But I think some of the things that you and many of the other authors that I've worked with and communicate with on a regular basis had prepared me well by saying, hey, look, you know, there's a lot of technical stuff that comes into a book launch, like making sure the files that you upload to the different platforms, you know, for proofing and for publishing and all that stuff works a certain way. And sometimes the systems are finicky and sometimes they're not. Like I opened an Ingram Spark account, and 2 of the 3 book formats were like right through. And then one of them was like, oh, we're going to hang out here for a little bit. We're going to see what we can do. And then that proof came in, and I was like, oh, I don't know if it's exactly the way it needs to be, because I'm not a book designer. So, you know, there was a little bit of
you have the best one on the planet at your disposal.
Yes. Dino Senor Marino
That's right.
was amazing, because I emailed him and said, hey, am I crazy? What do I do with this? And he's like, hit publish, dude, and order a copy, and let's see what you get, because it looks like it should be.
Oh, good. Okay. Is that how that turned out? I think I missed the rest of that story, Paul Harvey.
Yeah, it was good. But I think if there's a few things I'm especially grateful for besides all the mentorship pre-launch week, and that is the mentorship in the launch week. So if you're launching a book, I think it's imperative that you have that support network around you, so that you have someone to call when you look at the proof and you go, I don't know, is that right or is it not? Or, hey, I just got this idea about how to market it this week. Is it too soon? Should I wait? You know, there's all these different things that come up. So what do you think? I mean, you're obviously the one who's done this a bazillions of times.
You know what? There are things that never get old, like when your books come for the first time and you see them, like yesterday.
Public. It's the first public showing of the book.
Yeah. Yeah, here it is. I'm just
That's
going to
it.
be.
Guys, it's the best-selling book formula.
Oh, so excited about it.
Yeah. It's so good too.
Yeah. So that never gets old. It never gets old signing books. It never gets old launching a book, checking the analytics. You've got the fever. The fever never goes down.
Great.
Never goes away.
Get my blood pressure cuff out.
Yeah. I mean, I did my first book launch by myself. The books arrived and it was evening. They came by freight.
Nice.
I had ordered from a printing company. So this is before print on demand, you know, when the earth was cooling and we, you know, walked into school in our bare feet. No, seriously, it was 2004, 2005. And ABF freight shows up, bang, 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 6 p.m. I'm feeding Lexi dinner. It's a single mom. And the guy goes, there's your pallet of books. And I was expecting, having ordered 5,000 books, that there would just be boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. It would fill up my third car garage. And it wasn't. It was 20 boxes. And so I brought one in and put it on the counter by myself, opened the box, and was like, all right, there it is. And it was kind of a bummer, to be honest with you, to like have that moment and not have anyone there with me to share it. Now, of course, I called this person and called that person and, you know, that kind of thing later. But it was like, okay, I'll put the book down. I'll go give Lexi a bath. I'll read her a story. I'll put her to bed. It's like per usual. And then after she was in bed, I came back down and kind of picked it up and looked at it and was like, okay, it's kind of nice. But I don't let book launches pass anymore for anyone, because it's such a beautiful moment and it's such an accomplishment. And I say that not because I did it, but because I watch people do it, and there really should be a celebration around it. So don't let a book come out that you're not taking some time to celebrate it, even if, like I did with You Must Market Your Book, I just invited some friends to a coffee shop.
Right.
I didn't really have time. I wasn't, you know, after so many books, I'm not really like, yeah, let's rent out a venue and have a full-fledged party.
Right.
That's not something I'm interested in. But I think if you're a first-time author, you know, I know your family did some fun stuff for you, because you just don't want to let that moment pass without celebrating.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was nice. We had a little dinner at the house. Tammy went and got some nice fish, and we had a nice dinner with my parents here and the kids. And then we had this awesome cake with the image of the book cover on it, which was super cool.
That
was awesome.
How fun was that? Right?
And then I thought the food was over. Yeah, this is actually a good point. I'm glad you brought up the party, because I thought the food was over on night one. And then Jen Pisano goes and buys us lasagna. It's like,
yeah.
So maybe a note to self, something I wasn't aware of was all the food I was going to eat this week based on the celebration of the book. Right. That's cool.
Well, here's the thing is, even if you're a shy, introverted person, the people around you want to celebrate your accomplishments.
Right.
And they've been with you when you've been through the stages of writing a book, which is, I'm excited about it. I don't know if I can do it. Oh my God, I can't do this. This is too hard. Who am I to write a book? Right. Then you get to like, all right, maybe I can do it. I'm kind of feeling like this might actually happen. And then when you get to that stage 5 and this is what I'm writing about right now in my next book, are the 5 stages that people go through when they write a book. So it's like, when you get to that stage of like, oh my gosh, I did it. The people around you have been through those stages with you, and they're cheering you on. Sure. They're like, come on, Lucas, you can do it. You can write that book. You can get it out there. And there are a lot of people that don't write and publish books because they get stuck in there somewhere and they don't have that support team. So part of your obligation, you have an obligation to party.
I willingly accept that obligation.
You have an obligation to party with the people who supported you throughout
great.
the creation of your book. Yeah.
Well, it was a bit surprising to receive that kind of support, not because there's anything like, not that I didn't expect it of people, but it's just, it's just one of those things. And then when I was retiring from the military, I think was the last time I experienced that. So it had been a couple years, and it was pretty cool to have that experience. I was like, this is great. And it is a notable accomplishment. I hadn't had the accomplishment the same way before. So for those that haven't published, if you're on the verge of publishing, or if you're thinking about writing the book, or you've partially written it or whatever, it is worth it in the end. I mean, I'm looking at the book now and I'm like, oh, there's some things I want to do with it in the future on a revision, but that's not for today. Yeah. That's not for me to worry about.
No,
now.
For today, it's just to celebrate it and get it in the hands of people. So I'm curious to know if anything really cool or unexpected has happened yet.
Yes.
What's the coolest thing that's happened so far?
I don't know if it's the coolest, but maybe one of the surprising things has been the organic sales of the book. That has been unique to me, because all the products I sell traditionally in my business aren't in that same price range, and they're not just like sitting on an open market like Amazon.
Right.
And it's been interesting to see like sales happen after the launch week, and I have no clue who that is. Like almost everything I sell now, their name comes in, their email comes in. It's like, hey, nice to meet you. But in this world, it's like someone buys your book and you may never know who they are. And that's been a little surprising to me.
Right.
Not that I'm complaining.
No.
Ooh, let's see here. Oh, we got some comments. So Jen says she sends lasagna. She'll do push-ups too. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
We'll have a push-up contest at the EBM mid-year.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll have a fitness challenge. We'll do a fitness challenge.
I think the other thing that was nice to experience was the fact that it didn't take away any motivation to write another book.
Oh, it's the opposite, isn't it?
Yep. Like I was like, it verified or validated what my initial assumption would be, that like, this is, I love being a writer. I've been a writer my whole life. I just hadn't published a nonfiction book like this. Yeah. And the experience didn't turn me off. It just was like, yep, let's do it again. So I'm grateful for that experience. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you? Like, I mean, obviously you are a prolific writer. You are really never done writing, and you continuously publish. Do you feel like your book launches are different now than they used to be in regards to the experience after that?
Yeah. So the first one was kind of a wah-wah, right? And so the excitement, the cool thing that happened out of that was I took Mark Victor Hansen's advice and I just started calling everybody and like selling books. So that was the cool thing that happened out of that. The next book, my second book, was the book, The Successful Single Mom, was the book that I celebrated. So I had a friend who was selling at the time $4 million properties in Las Vegas. And she said, there was a whole, hi, Sonia. There was a whole development that was brand new. And so one of the houses was the show house, the model. And so it was staged and everything. And she said, if you want, we can have your party there. So I had 300 people. Wow. And their dining room table was just stacked with single mom books. And I just signed, and Byron was the bartender. So on the second floor of the home was a bar, like a media room with a bar. And of course, he's the cook, brisket maker, right? All the things. And so I just, like, my friends really showed up to celebrate.
Aww.
Right. For like, there were food and of course there was cake. If anyone knows me, right, there's going to be cake somewhere, never far from cake or a nice sugar cookie. Thus, my addictions are very polar, right? Fitness and buttercream frosting.
I call that complimentary.
Yes, yes. I live a balanced life. What can I say? So I just thoroughly enjoyed signing books and mingling and introducing people, and it was meant to be like what I try to do always is make it beneficial to all concerned, right? As a Rotarian for half my life, that's one of the 4-way tests is what you're doing beneficial to all concerned. So we had this big party in this big house with lots of people, and I spent the night going, you need to know. And so like bringing people together, and that was really fun. And right in the middle of the whole thing, I did a radio show interview for 15 minutes. Because that was when the show was live, right? So I was like, okay, everybody, I'm going into this bedroom. Everybody stay out. 15 minutes I did. I don't think anyone noticed I wasn't even there. I think they were all having such a great time. And it was fantastic. Since then, I have not done anything like that because I feel like it's kind of like the second, third, fourth, or fifth time you get married. Like at some point, people are like, really? Congratulations, blah, blah, blah. Right? Are we doing this again? So I feel like the first one or one of the first ones is good, but all subsequent books should be celebrated in some way. Yes. And Sonia, definitely share about your book. All books are celebrated for sure.
Yeah.
So, I had the coffee for the last one. The next one comes out in like 3.5 weeks. So I suppose I need to put something together, and I will. I'll put something little together for that.
Sonia wrote it's a bit of an anthology, and it's about empowering women in STEM, and
Nice.
it's very much story based.
That.
Yeah, I need to connect those two. Sonia, remind me to connect you with Michelle Oglesby. Yes. Sonia's in Trinidad. She lives in Trinidad, and she's just what a wonderful soul, what a wonderful human. And she and I worked in the maintenance and reliability engineering space together.
Nice.
And yeah, she's just such a great author and a great proponent for leading from the front as a woman in that field down in those areas of the world where.
Love it. Go get him, Sonia.
Yeah, Sonia, we're gonna have to have you. We're going to have you tell your story about when you stood up your business and you went into those places and they were like, who do you work for? And you're like, I'm the CEO. And they were like, what? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I may have just let the cat out of the bag a little bit.
Total baller. I like it.
Yeah, she really is. And I can see, I haven't experienced it yet, but I can see what you're saying about the next book release feeling different for you, and maybe having to be very intentional about taking a moment to stop and celebrate, because it is important that we do that. And I think that one of the biggest things I wanted to do with the book, I talked to my son about this last night, was like, dude, these are pieces of your legacy. And my son goes, I'm never going to read a book about building courses from a book, Daddy. he's so logical, 13-year-old. And I said, yeah, but you know what? And the whole conversation was because I put the acknowledgments in the back and the gratitude section. I said, hey, read this. Cause I know he's like, I'm never going to pick a book up and read it all the way to the back. Why did you put that in your book? And I said, because one day I'm not going to be here, knucklehead. And you're going to be able to read that and say, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, you don't appreciate it till till later.
Yeah.
I don't think we appreciate much when we're 13. It's crazy. I'm going to change the subject just for 1 second. I'm reading this book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin.
Oh, wait, can you hold it up again?
Yes.
The screen was messed up for a second. Ooh, interesting cover.
Right?
Wait, Rick Rubin, the producer?
Yes. But you know what's interesting? There's literally nothing about him in here.
Very cool.
There is no dedication. There are 78 areas of thought. And It goes from the last thing that he talks about to blank pages, like note pages that you can write in.
Wow.
No acknowledgments, no about the author.
Really?
Nothing. Nothing.
Well, he is
That
Rick
was the
Rubin.
first thing but it's the first thing I wanted. That's the first place I go, is I always go to who helped with this book. There's no dust jacket. The cover is interesting.
It's an album, I'm assuming.
I think some people made assumptions that everybody knows who he is.
Yeah. Or that the people who are going to read it know who he is or whatever.
But it's like, I don't know what it is right now, but it was number 1 or number 2 on Amazon's overall. I'm going to look it up right now.
He's got that kind of impact on industry. But I think it's funny because you and I had talked about how I think it was Billie Eilish had published a book with a major publisher, and it flopped because her audience just doesn't read.
Yeah, it's number 14 on the Amazon charts this week, but it already has 661 reviews.
All right, so now I got to try and catch up to Rick Rubin on reviews. I got to at least get that many sales as his number of reviews first.
Right. Yeah, it's down number 1. It's Penguin. I'm just so fascinated by the fact that they did not do anything with the book in terms of optimization. There's nothing about the publisher. There's nothing about the author. It's just fascinating to me. Like, who sat in a room and said, "Hey, go. He's that famous."
Yeah.
Or that something. Fascinating to me.
Yeah, I think the music industry alone. What's the topic? It's just about creativity.
It's just about creativity.
Gotcha. Well, he's. I mean, if you look at his list of albums he recorded, he's definitely jumped all over the place. I mean, he's done all types of acts. Pretty interesting past, especially going back, as far as it goes. We were kids growing up with that stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, his family will never be able to, they'll like.
Yeah. Hopefully he leaves him something else.
Hopefully he leaves something else. It's just interesting. It's the first book I've ever seen like that, where there was, normally it's optimized toward the publisher. Usually there's at least a sentence or two about the author. This time it's nothing. No initials, just his name. So interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. And for those that aren't familiar with the topic of optimizing a book, you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think that it's actually kind of shown its head this week, by the way. The optimization that you taught me about to build into my book has definitely shown up in this first week.
Excellent. So optimization is my code word for the process of commencing and beginning to develop the author-reader relationship. When someone opens your book and they've never heard of you or they don't know who you are, you're basically going on a date. You're going on a first coffee date with your reader, and they don't know if they know you, want to know you, if they will like you, or they can trust you. And so optimization is adding elements to specifically the front matter, the shy yes opt-in, to use some internet marketing terms.
You're such a capable entrepreneur.
Yeah. Getting people to join your email list by giving them something valuable in exchange for that email, getting them to engage with you. That's the very first part. It's kind of like meeting someone at a cocktail party and saying, "Oh, well, I think what you do sounds interesting. Do you have a business card?" Now my answer to that is no, because I legitimately have no business cards and refuse to get them. I'm done with the business card, but I'll pass out a book if I, give a book or nothing.
Well, and your information's in the book.
Always.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to start putting in my books what my favorite gifts are. Here's my bio and my way to get on my email list. And if you really like me, you can buy me a cup of coffee, or these 5 things that I really love at all times, including chocolate. Okay. I've just decided I'm going to add this to all books from now on. Like, if you really like your favorite author, find out what their favorite gifts are.
It's a great strategy.
Remind me where that comes from. That comes from the book club I was at yesterday. So we have to talk about that because it's kind of fun. So optimization is that front matter piece where you're getting people on your email list or inviting them to be on your email list and start to have a relationship with them. And also what you add to the main content of the book in terms of book bonuses, resources, and things like that. So ultimately, optimization is the opportunity to start a relationship, a dialogue, a conversation, a consulting role, even with your reader.
Oh,
and so where did it show up? I want to know.
What's that?
Where did it show up? I want to know. You said it's shown up.
Yeah. So, well, one, the free book offers, right? So having that link in there, like starting Monday of the day the book went live, people were going in there and signing up for the free book offers, which I built into like a course platform so I can use it like a library. I can just dump stuff there and give people a chance to grab it when they need it. But also, you know, those people are you know, they're now part of your ecosystem. They're on your email list. And then a couple of other places it popped up where I had people just visit the site and leave me comments. They were like, hey, I read your book. I see the way you did X, Y, and Z, and I'm reaching out to you because this is the way you said to do it in the book. And it's pretty cool. And I'm like, man, if I hadn't mentioned that stuff in there. Now, what I'm really hoping to see soon, not because there's anything attached to it other than just satisfaction, is I embedded a bunch of discount codes in here. And I don't think there's some people that have seen them yet. And I'm like, I can't wait to see those come up because it's public. I'm just not talking about them everywhere else. Right. So, so who knows how many times they'll make the rounds. I just don't know. But that's been cool. One of the ways. And then my last point on the optimization, well, it isn't really a point on optimization at all. It's more about like just the fact that you kind of, if you have a certain type of community around you, I think this is a blessing that I didn't see coming. So being an author in a community of authors, particularly in the Empire Builders Mastermind. Yeah. So I joined the mastermind. One of the reasons was I wanted to become published, and I wanted to do it as a business owner and an entrepreneur. And putting all those pieces together in the Empire Builders Mastermind was exactly what it's built for. So I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I got to really see that this week because not only did I have people to support me, but they were fellow authors who had like understood the process. And they also have an audience that could benefit from hearing the message. And so I got like, immediately I was getting invites to podcasts, opportunities to sponsor. And I was like, this is great. So when it comes to the marketing part of the book afterward, it relieved a little bit of my pressure.
Yes.
Knowing that the book was serving the right audience. I was in communication with that audience before the book was even published. I had good people I could trust in that circle. I was like, oh, what a blessing. So that was something I didn't necessarily see coming that really was a really nice, not a nice surprise, but something nice had happened.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, there's Jen. Jen's like, and she knows where all the bodies are hidden.
Right. I love it.
She's in the circle of trusts. She knows where they're all at. And it also gave me the idea about like, it made me rethink the next book I'm going to publish. So it was like, well, I think going through that experience and now you can step back and say, well, now that I know how much work goes into this and I know.
What do you mean?
Well, okay. Let me see how I can put this without ruffling too many feathers. If you're going to do it right, it is absolutely going to take the time to do it right. And for the people that are like, write your book and publish it in 3 days. Yeah, no, there's no way I possibly could have done that with this book. It's just not physically possible.
You could have. It just wouldn't be the book you have.
It would not be that book.
It would not work hard for you for a really long time. You're going to build, Sonia, work, haha, right? Yes,
she knows.
you're gonna build an empire on that book. Like you must write a book is the foundation of an empire.
It really is. Yeah. And I think if you're going to build that kind of book and expect those kind of results and be able to stand behind that kind of thing, yep, you have to do it right. This process put a bow on everything I'd been planning for 2 years and the whole reason we met and everything. So to me, it was like kind of like this validation of like, I did go down the right path. I did the right things. I worked with the right people. Yeah, it was just that good of an experience. And I think that it changed the way I think about the next book in several ways, because I'm like, okay, well, like now that I know what it takes to produce a 40,000 word professionally developed book, what does that look like for a 20,000 word book? It's almost no different with the exception of the amount of writing you do. The process is the same. The level of attention to detail is the same. It's like you are going to really put a lot into producing a good book. And that isn't something to shy people away. Like, hey, caution, hard work ahead. No.
Oh no.
This is a good thing. It's a really good thing.
Let's just use You Must Write a Book as a scenario. Just because I can talk about my own situation. I can talk about other people's situations, but without the permission, I wouldn't want to do that. But I wrote You Must Write a Book, published it, sold 50,000 copies within a very short period of time. Within the first few months, like 6 months, I think. I had in that 6 months.
Hold on, run that number back again. Say that one more time.
50,000 copies
in
6 months.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And it was not, I'm not a household name. I'm not, it's not Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's not The 4-Hour Workweek, right? Those books sell many, many, many multiples of that monthly, right? So it's like, I'm in the mid-lister club with those numbers, right? I'm not even like a star. That's just, I'm just saying it is what it is, Lucas, right? Like, however, for an indie author, nice numbers.
Excellent numbers.
Excellent numbers. Then I published the workbook. Then I did Publishing PhD, which was another course by another terrible name for a long time that I taught live. And then I changed it to Publishing PhD Live. And now it's Publishing PhD Blended Learning, right? It took me a little while to come to the light.
It's a great course, by the way.
Thank you.
It's the reason I'm here.
What's that?
It's one of the reasons I'm here.
It's why you're here. Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I'm here.
Yeah. Yes. So then I was encouraged to create another course, Building $1 Million Book Business. And those were my 2 courses and my book and my workbook for a super long time. I've got the book, workbook course. Those 3 go together. And then I have the outlier. And then I started the mastermind. And those 5 things are an empire. Now I've started to add to that empire to complete the arc. So now I have You Must Market Your Book, I Must Market Your Book, Book Marketing Mastery. And I will eventually have, by later this year, You Must Monetize Your Book, I Must Monetize My Book workbook. And then that arc will be complete. So I will have 9 products plus the mastermind all under the You Must umbrella.
Right. It's wonderful.
That's an empire. That's a 7-figure empire. Because of one book that I took the time to write and publish professionally. I have just done the 4th printing of that first book. And it's the reason we're having this conversation. It's the reason all these people are in the chat. It's the reason I know a lot of the people that I know. It's a huge, incredible blessing. And that's why I'm so passionate about telling people to go ahead and write their book. Because on the other side of that, it's not on the other side of a course necessarily, right? But a course is an excellent stream of income, many multiples of what the book could possibly be, right? Because how many books do you have to sell in order to make what you make from selling one course, right? To be fair.
It just doesn't have the legs of a book though.
But a book can go anywhere all the time simultaneously. It's like you taking yourself and duplicating yourself and sending yourself to the 4 corners of the earth. And so not only 10 days into your journey, you're starting to see people on your email list, people reaching out to you. And it's going to be so fun to look back in 2033 on the 10th anniversary of your book. And I mean, you think, oh, that's so long from now. It's a decade. But I published You Must Write a Book in 2016, which feels like it was yesterday.
Wow.
And this year it will be 7 years old. You Must Write a Book will be 7 years old in October.
I think I came across it in 19. It's either 19 or 20. I'll have to look.
And you signed up for publishing PhD.
Yeah. Not too long after that. Yeah.
In 20.
Yeah.
And EBM 22.
Signed up in 21 for the 22 year. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now here we are.
Here we are. But it's not about me or you ultimately, because we're good. We're here. We're having this conversation, right? It's ultimately about the person who thinks, I can't do that. Who am I to do that? Is it worth it? I mean, I had someone the other day say books are dead. I don't need a book. I'm going to do this other thing. I don't know that he realized like what my position on this was.
You're like, I'm just going to leave this one alone.
You know what? I am at a point in my life where I no longer argue basically about anything.
Just smile at him. Mm-hmm.
I did. Well, you know, I just said, okay, then what is it that you want to do?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. If you don't want to write a book, you have every right to not write a book.
Yep.
However, I think people are going to work so much harder because the juice is worth the squeeze. Over and over and over and over and over and over. I mean, it's hundreds of hours to write and publish a book when you do it right.
Yeah.
It's hundreds of hours of work cumulatively between the author, the production team, the time that everyone collectively puts into it. It's hundreds of hours. And so you think, gosh, what else could I do in those hundreds of hours? Probably nothing. There's probably nothing you could do in 200 hours or 300 hours that's going to give you the return on investment that writing and publishing a book will do.
Yeah. And I haven't thought once about $1 that I've spent on this book. Like,
interesting.
Yeah, I haven't thought a minute. I haven't even thought for a second. I haven't thought about it once. If you asked me to I'd have to estimate right now. I haven't even sat down and said, all right, I spent X, Y, and Z. I mean, I know what I spent loosely, but it's not even like a concern. It's not even on the radar because the benefit of having the book so far outweighs the cost of doing it the right way that I'm not even worried about it. It's like, do it right. Don't think twice.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's got nothing to do with, whether I'm going to make that amount back in a certain time period. It has nothing to do with that. Nothing.
No.
It's just, it was worth every penny just to have experienced it and to be able to have this book now and to be able to use it. And I know that if this book doesn't get me a return on the investment, it's not the book's fault. It's my fault. I mean, I haven't marketed it properly. I haven't promoted it. I'm not getting it out there. I'm not living to support the book like I should. Wait, I said that in a bad way. I said living to support the book.
You better live to support the book.
Why did you wake up today? Because I have a family.
Because my book needs to be out in the world. Get it?
Yeah, you get what I'm saying, though. You really should do yourself justice and do the book it justice by supporting it. And if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, shame on me. It's not the book's fault. And I can talk about this because Hal wrote about it in The Miracle Equation, but there's an actual graph in The Miracle Equation that he shows number of book sales the first month, good, right? And then by the time we get to months 2 and 3, all of a sudden the grass is growing. It looks like the grass is growing and really slow. And then all of a sudden we hockey stick, and he really got into traction because he put the marketing effort behind the book. I think a lot of people publish a book and then they go, oh, it's been 2 months. It's been 2 months. Why don't I have 1 million books sold? Or why haven't I gotten my return on my investment? It wasn't worth it. And it's like 7 years in, I'm in the 7th year of You Must Write a Book, and I'm still selling copies, still selling workbooks, still selling courses from time that I spent
that time is gone. Time well invested. Oh my gosh, right? But it's like if I would have said, well, kid, I'm giving you 1 year. It's like giving your kid 1 year to graduate from college, right? Okay, you're born. Go.
Yeah.
Right? Tony Robbins has this thing. It's like, how long do you give a baby to learn how to walk? Right? How long do you give a baby to learn how to walk? It's like, well, they walk until they're done walking. End of discussion.
Yeah.
You let them, you give them until they've learned to walk. So it's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing with your book. If you keep nurturing your book and talking about your book and marketing your book. And I know that there are 3 things that sell my books. There are 3 things that I do. They're my staples. I don't really deviate from them very much, and they work. So those are the things that I do. So if you're willing to do it and put in the time, then you're going to get a nice big fat return on investment more and more over time, because the book is really going to get legs.
Right. Yeah. I think, and we're talking specifically about nonfiction, right?
Oh, for sure. Well, fiction too. Fiction authors will tell you that you have to write more than 1 book. You have to write preferably in a series. You have to have a quality book.
Absolutely.
You've got to have a soundbite for the book and be talking about it and getting it out there. It's like very rarely, very, very, very rarely, almost so rare we can never talk about it, because it's not going to happen for you. Right? Is a book someone will just write and publish a book on Amazon and they will make millions of dollars. I have one friend like that. She wrote epic fantasy. She was a single mom on the brink, very, very smart, multi-degreed professional, wrote a book back in the day, back when you could just write and publish a book on Amazon, made 30 grand her first month, and she was just getting warmed up. Wow. But that does not happen to me or you or anyone watching, unless it does. And if it does, A, that's fantastic. And B, I'm registered at Mercedes.
You heard it here first, folks.
You know exactly what I want. So this is what I was going to say about the book club I was at yesterday.
Yeah, I actually wrote it down. I'm glad you brought it up.
We were having a fun conversation about making it easy for people to make you happy. What are the things that would make you happy? And one of those things as an author is, reading and reviewing the book. So in the book club, they were reading Stop Trying So Effing Hard, which is probably next to Business Dating, my favorite book that I've ever written.
I really liked Business Dating. You caught me by surprise with that one. We talked about that before.
Thank you. Yes.
We'll have to have a whole episode on that.
Okay. All right. I would love to. But thank you. That's so nice of you to say. It's my favorite. Really so good. I was talking though about Stop Trying So Effing Hard, and they were like, why did you write this? And the whole premise of the book is that people spend a lot of time doing things that they don't like to impress people they don't like or they don't know. Fauxpreneurs.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? Fauxpreneurs or fake influencers, that kind of stuff. Gotcha. And at the end, they were like, how can we support you? And I said, just leave a review. I was talking to the guy who was hosting, and I just said, if you'd ask everybody who really liked the book to please take a minute and review the book. It goes to your point about being surrounded by authors. Like we all know, we want honest 5-star reviews on Amazon and Goodreads and everywhere books are sold. Right? Sure. So like take time to review the book, but also your connection as an author with your readers is tantamount to your success. Interestingly, I've sold books today. Now that book is a 2018 book, and I don't sell a ton of them because I don't talk about it a lot. But when I talk about my book, I sell it. And so today I've sold several copies of that book, which I don't sell several copies of that book. I might sell 1 or 2, but it doesn't move the needle, generally speaking. But I know that book club is the catalyst for people going and reading it. Interestingly, I wrote it for people who have anxiety, depression. They're, concerned a lot about what other people are thinking. They're twisting themselves into a pretzel to make other people happy. They're not taking taking care of themselves. They're not taking 100% responsibility. So it was interesting because a couple of the people said, I would have never read this because this book description does not apply to me. So if I would have read the book description, I would have passed right over it because these aren't my problems, but they're the problems of the people that I serve. I could see where my wife or the people I work with in my church group or the people I work with at my company struggle with these challenges. And so now I'm going to go out and refer people to the book, which brings me also to the number one way people find out about a book is through recommendation.
Right.
Yeah. So when this book comes out, we're going to talk about how people can bake in these keys to creating a best-selling book that people will be compelled to share with other people.
I love it.
Cliffhanger.
And what's the name of that book?
The Best-Selling Book Formula.
How can you not want that?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think I titled it appropriately, Unlike Business Dating.
We have to clear the air on that real quick, just because people were probably like, all right, this is the third time you guys have mentioned that and we don't know what you're talking about.
Yes. So Business Dating is a book about networking and business development.
It's really good.
I was being clever when I titled it. And a lot of people, I actually write about it in this book, it just breaks my heart into a million pieces. But I also got to throw myself under the bus, right? Which is great because it's like, if I throw somebody else under the bus, I feel bad. Myself, like whatever. But it's the book that is wrongly titled because you passed over it. Why?
I'm married. I mean, I looked, it was like funny. I had the whole list of books because I'm obviously a huge fan, right? I'm like, all right, so I've got the one out of the way. I'm new to this thing. Let me see where I need to go next. And I went right past that book because I thought it was about business dating. And I'm just
dating at work.
Shallow. Yeah,
dating
so shallow. I didn't even think past it.
And even the subtitle didn't do the job.
Right. And then what's the book honestly about? It's about building the right relationships in your business.
Correct. It's about how, when, where, why, with who, how to build mutually beneficial win-win lifelong relationships. That's what the book is about. But I gave it the clever title.
Use that analogy.
What's that?
The analogy is great. You know,
It
just made its way into the title, and that distracted me.
I know.
Not to mention, I think if Tammy was like looking over my shoulder and she's like, "What are you reading?" And I'm like, "Oh, just a book about business dating." She'd have been like, "All right, kids, pack his stuff up,
load them up." No, I don't think she would have loaded up the kids. I think she would have loaded up you.
yeah, she'd have been like, "Someone grab his leg. I got his arms. We're just gonna drag him outside."
That's right. Now. Kids get a box. Dad can take 3 things on his way out the door. No, I mean that's the whole. The whole purpose of this part of the discussion is to make sure that when you're titling your book, don't be cute or clever. People have to really understand that when they read your book, they are going to monetize their book with a course.
All right. And you can be clever, but it has to be clear. It's like I thought You Must Write a Book was clever, not only because it's so, well, no, it's like, I didn't even take it as bossy. I just thought it was like, it's so clear that there's no mistaking what it's about. And that made it clever to me because I'm like, how come no one else wrote this book like this before? That's clever. Like that really. And every time
redemption is mine.
Yes, you are. You are redeemed. But like, yeah, to me that is also clever. It's just a different type of clever. And your book is great. So if you guys are worried about reading business dating, it's a really good read. And it's
just
all
put
natural.
it on your Kindle. Don't tell your wife because you're really not doing anything you can get in trouble for.
Share it with her. Say, look, I want you to know this book exists.
Yeah, I also want you to read this because it's good. Gracious.
Yeah. It reminded me of, we're about wrapped up. We're at the top of the hour. I was going to say, it reminded me of this couple that was post online dating. They were married before all that became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were both journalists and they wanted to chronicle what would happen to someone their age if they were online dating. So they each created a profile. Like they did this together just to do the research on this as journalists, and it's a fascinating reveal, like, of how different their experiences are as a man and a woman, and all
I would
the
be
things.
single. I will be single. If anything happens to Byron, I will not be doing that.
I thought it was hilarious to see that. So, anyways, yeah. I don't
also hard to replace, hard to follow perfection. So,
yeah, he's pretty awesome.
He's pretty awesome.
He's pretty. You're gonna find a flaw. You know, you're gonna be like, so, all right, sit down, guy.
Here's his flaw. He doesn't cook every day. That's his flaw.
You know, you can get away with saying that, but if he said that about you, if like the tables are turned, he would get roasted.
No, not at all. I'd be like, no, you don't want me to cook every day. You want to live.
He's a phenomenal cook for those that don't know Byron.
Yes. Yes.
So
awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us for an hour. We didn't really take questions. But we have things to talk about in future lives, and we'll take your questions then.
Yeah, we've been putting out so much like content about the topics and the products and things. We wanted to kind of have a little bit of like a good just conversation about experiences with this type of thing, and I hope it really pays off for you. I wish I'd had a video like this before I jumped in. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys.
You published your book. Good job, Lucas. The next one's coming in hot. Can't wait to read it.
Yes. Right now, Karen Hunsinger is either happy to see this or she's ready to beat me up. We'll see. She's our editor, by the way, for the book.
Yes.
Yes. Sonia, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. You guys, if you want to, Jen, Tony,
and Tony.
Yeah. You guys drop your links to your books in the chat. So that people can check them out, because we talked a bit about them. Jen, prolific author. She's published.
She's got more coming too.
Yes, she does. Can't wait to see it. I really can't wait to see the next one, Jen. It's gonna be special.
That's right.
It's gonna be special.
All right, kids. Guys. Well, we got to go. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you around.
Subscribe, click the bell, leave a comment. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. See you soon.
Bye.